3 races to go until the Rockford 200. 3 races for the front runners to lock themselves into championship contention. And we will start at the Oswego Speedway in New York State for the running of the Lone Pros 100. Lev Azarov, second in points, took the Pro Laps pole award. That's worth a whopping 20 bonus points, and he's coming off of his 3rd top 5 in a row. Behind him, Chuck Johnson and Billy Bob Childers fight for second, but here comes Johnson around the outside with a huge run. He leads the first lap. He finally took home a 5th place finish at Meadowdale last week after a string of fast cars, but bad luck. Points leader Billy Ray Smith-Thompson doesn't have a whole lot of patience for the lapped car of Dan Bichard and spins him out. Lap 21, the second caution sees Mark Thompson and Alice Raines going up into the wall. Kevin Monroe in the 63 also caught up in this one. But coming back to the caution, contact between Bob Steffens and Xander Massey sends Billy Bob Childers for a wild ride up into the turn 1 fence. Childers climbed out of that car a bit dizzy, but otherwise unharmed. Lev Azarov, still running second, tries to make a run at leader Chuck Johnson, but can't do anything with it at the moment, though he's probably got a plan B, waiting for something bad to happen to the 46. Smith-Thompson still not playing very nicely with the lapped cars. Dan Voiles gets sent onto his roof, thanks to Riley Durbin. And right after the restart, Packer Carroll gets turned around from 3rd place by Zach Webster. Karmic retribution from his rampages over the last few weeks? Maybe. Roy Warren took over the 3rd spot, but now has to pit for a flat tire. And in another blow for Warren, his funding has dried up, so we are not going to see him back in that 86 car over the remainder of this season. And that's effectively going to hand Rookie of the Year over to Hunter Blaze. Meanwhile, Lev Azarov has gotten stuck behind the 54 of John Burr, so he's lost 2nd to Timothy Ruiz and 3rd to Bob Steffens as we take yet another yellow. After the restart, Timothy Ruiz gets stuck behind the 100 of Tom Brayton. Here comes Bob Steffens for 2nd, but Ruiz breaks out from behind the 100 and keeps 2nd for now, but Steffens continues to fight. Here he comes with another run. Coming to lap 75, Ruiz just barely hanging on to the outside, but he gets a bit out of shape in turn 2. Bob Steffens moves into 2nd place, and now he sets his sights on race leader Chuck Johnson. Meanwhile, Lev Azarov is sick of these lap cars. He dumps Tom Brayton, who almost takes him out as he spins up into turn 3. And coming back to the yellow, Xander Massey washes up the track, taking Greg Gray, Billy Ray Smith-Thompson, and Zach Webster all into the wall. But on the bright side, this isn't going to affect his safety rating in Race Sim. It hasn't been the greatest of days for Billy Ray Smith-Thompson. He qualified 12th and, as he saw earlier, wrecked a couple of lapped cars. Now he's stuck in 14th with the damaged car. Chuck Johnson pits from the lead. How many times have we seen this in the past month? He's got a cut tire, possibly after running over some debris, and this now hands the lead over to Bob Steffens. With 13 to go, he's got a clear track ahead of him, and lapped cars behind him, holding up his rivals. But now we've got another yellow for Kelly Splicen having a huge crash. She spun into the gate on the front stretch, but she would climb out of that car. 3 laps to go now. Timothy Ruiz runs 2nd. He's got a clear shot at Bob Steffens, who's running very high in the corners, leaving that bottom wide open. Ruiz has been close on a number of occasions, driving for that small team. He just needs a couple of good corners, but he's not gonna get it, as 2 of the lapped cars decide to wreck. Dan Bichard and Tom Brayton go spinning up into turn 1. A late race wreck at the front of the field is understandable. A late race wreck in the back is just embarrassing, especially when it ends the race under yellow. Bob Steffens doesn't mind, however, as he comes across the line to take his 3rd win of the year. Ruiz has to settle for another agonizing 2nd place. Jim Kidd finishes a pretty quiet 3rd. Lev Azarov settles for 4th, but with the pole bonus, he scores more than the 2nd place finisher. Monica Rook also snuck into the top 5 very quietly. I know we usually show her when she's running into trouble, but she does have a handful of top 10s this season. Kevin Monroe finishes 6th, recovering from his early incident. And Truman Ellison grabs his first top 10 since the season opener at Texas World. We now head to the River Spirit Expo Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma for the Pro Laps Duels, an indoor doubleheader on the dirt. Kenny George took his first career Pro Laps pole award, and he makes great use of it, catching Jim Kidd sleeping on the start. Here comes Lawrence Burr with an early bid for second, but Kidd starts to recover as he hangs on around the outside, but here comes Enola, making it 3 wide for second. Enola is going to clear Burr and set his sights on Kenny George. Lawrence Burr, on the other hand, is going to spin up into the turn 1 wall on lap 3. Todd Stater tries to give his car a kiss to make it better. Enola had to pit from second and now rejoins the field in the back. Driving the 86 tonight will be Riley Durbin. It's very unfortunate to see Roy Warren unable to finish the season, but these things happen in racing. And you just saw another thing that happens in racing. Alexa Lake going into the wall. Caution is out once again. Durbin trying to make a move on Kenny George and beat him to the yellow, but he can't make it work. But now here comes Bob Steffens with a run after the restart. The lapped car of Danica Hollifield right in front of the leaders. Kenny George gets stuck on the high side and is about to lose second to Kurt Walker. And now here comes Walker with a run on Steffens with a couple of lapped cars coming up. The former 2-time champion has not won a race since 2013. He came close in the second race of the year at Salem Speedway, where he dominated, but mechanical problems took him out late. He's definitely got another fast car tonight, but after a restart, he gets put into the wall by Danica Hollifield, trying a little too hard to get her lap back, and now he finds himself on the top of 3 wide as Harry S. Enola tries to do the same. And now Enola nearly gets turned around as Kenny George tries to bully his way back through. Walker's a sitting duck right now. These lapped cars are a bit stronger than he'd like, but at the same time, by forming the wall that they have, they're not making life easy for his rivals either. But Kenny George, still pushing through, he's now got a run under the 25, and now he's poking ahead of the 98, using the 45 of Enola as a pick. Kenny George takes the lead once again and pulls out to a big lead, which then gets erased. The yellow flag is out again. You saw David Bloom stuck against the pit wall, and George certainly isn't helping his case by hitting the wall himself. This gives Riley Durbin an opportunity for round 2, and this time he's able to make his move, and just in time for another yellow as Hunter Blaze is stopped on the outside of turn 2. Shortly after the restart, Dom Forrest running 10th tangles with Flip Papadopoulos, and Tristan Kristoff trying to get away ends up sliding into the pit wall instead. Harry S. Enola will finally get his lap back this time around. Coming to 7 laps to go, Riley Durbin still holds the lead. Kurt Walker in second, getting around the lapped car of Danica Hollifield. Bob Steffens runs third. But Jim Kidd is going to have a very uncharacteristic self-spin into the turn 1 wall while running 7th, and this comes with just 5 laps to go, so it's not looking like the race will restart. Riley Durbin finally in position to get his first FARC victory, but it looks like he's got a problem. Riley Durbin goes out from the lead with a mechanical failure, but Durbin's heartbreak becomes Kurt Walker's fortune as the 2-time champion leads the field across the line to take the victory tonight, his first since 2013. And I can't exactly say he didn't deserve it, as he led 13 laps tonight and came all the way from 12th to do it, grabbing the hard charger bonus. Kenny George led the most laps, but has to settle for 3rd. Joshua Pacer rounds out the top 5, a great improvement from the beginning of his season when he ended his race at Albuquerque early after running into the end of the pit wall. Harry S. Enola recovered to finish 8th, and Danica Hollifield rounds out the top 10, the first car 1 lap down. But we're not finished with the action at Tulsa tonight, as we bring you race number 2. Billy Ray Smith-Thompson took the Pearl Laps pole award, but look right behind him. Making a move for the lead early, that's his teammate for this week, Ralph West in the 8. Smith-Thompson, of course, is going for the championship. Ralph West is not, but he doesn't care. West is going to make the move stick and lead lap number 1 as Chuck Johnson immediately challenges Smith-Thompson for 2nd. But we've got trouble early as Trey Ashby tangles with Xavier Ruiz, who has already fallen a lap down. And Ruiz's idea of recovery seems to be getting into more trouble, this time with Mark Thompson in the 251, and Trey Ashby gets caught up in this one as well. It's pretty clear to me where all the talent in the Ruiz family went, but Trey Ashby doesn't seem to be above getting into dumb accidents himself as he comes out of the pit lane right into Rick Forrest's door. And now he's going to hold up Ralph West, which allows Chuck Johnson to have a shot at the lead. Chuck Johnson has been very fast in the past couple of months, but all he has to show for it is a 5th place at Meadowdale. He's hoping that these short 60 lappers tonight will not be enough time for something to go wrong for his car. But Trey Ashby's going to make sure that something goes wrong for the 46 tonight as he puts him into the wall. Ralph West goes back to the lead. Lev Azarov comes after the 46 for second, but Johnson is fighting back. Azarov has the preferred line, though, and he will take over that spot. Johnson then falls victim to his own aggression, putting himself into the turn 1 wall. He keeps going without drawing a caution, but he has lost third to Billy Ray Smith-Thompson now. Mark Thompson isn't paying any attention as he comes out of the pits, wiping out Zach Webster and Eric Cardona, who has made his way up to 8th, his best performance of his season so far. Chuck Johnson starts to make his way forward again as he makes a move on Lev Azarov. For second, here comes Rick Forrest, right behind them, trying to grab 4th from Billy Ray Smith-Thompson. Smith-Thompson hits the wall, but Johnson is going to run out of time as Ralph West comes off the final corner and takes his first FARC Low Dollar Series victory, and the first this season for the Pearson Sweeney number 8. But I'm sure at this point, Chuck Johnson is going to treat just having a reliable car as a victory. Rick Forrest ended up taking 3rd from Lev Azarov in the closing laps. Billy Ray Smith-Thompson faded to 5th, but he still has the 20-point bonus from winning the pole. The Accelerator Motorsports teammates Kelly Splicen and Zach Webster finished 6th and 7th, Billy Bob Childers 8th. Marco DeBeest hasn't had a whole lot of pace in his few appearances, but he brings home another top 10, and Kevin Monroe finishes 10th after running into some early difficulties. And now we head over to the Salem Speedway in Indiana to decide our championship contenders at the Master Spark 100. And taking the Pro Laps Pole Award would be Kevin Monroe. Those 20 bonus points are going to help his championship cause in his final year of competition, but Kurt Walker hangs on around the outside, which seemed to be the preferred line in group qualifying, and Walker demonstrates that by powering around to lead the first lap. And it didn't take Walker long to start lapping people. He goes around Stan Coleman and Ronnie Holter on lap 5. Speaking of Stan Coleman, his second car, driven by Dalton Johnson, breaks down on lap 9, coming to a stop on the front stretch and bringing out the first caution. But coming back to the yellow, David Bloom gets turned around in traffic. Marissa Raines takes heavy front-end damage as she tries to get away from Mark Thompson in the 0. Not a good start for the Master Spark car in the race that they are sponsoring tonight. Hunter Blaze has had enough of Bobby Dwyer in the 00, but ends up taking himself out and causing a small pileup heading into turn 3 in the process. Farrell Burgundy comes flying in from way back, slamming into the 86, driven this week by Vincenzo Focusato, who recently just barely missed out on winning the Formula B championship. Stan Coleman gets turned around by Jim Kidd heading into turn 1, right in front of the leaders, Kurt Walker and Packer Carroll, with heavy damage as the track was completely blocked. Walker's luck wasn't meant to last, it seems, as he's going to have to pit for extensive repairs. We had a round of pit stops under that yellow. Billy Bob Childers did not pit, however. He takes over the lead with Lev Azarov in tow. Truman Ellison was another one of those drivers who elected not to pit. He currently runs 4th. Ellison is coming off of a 10th place finish at Oswego, a very strong performance by his standards. Archer Helms is getting in the way of Billy Bob Childers, but as you're going to see, this is just the beginning of a huge group of lapped cars that the leaders are now starting to come across. And now Azarov has another shot at the lead thanks to Xander Massey holding up the 16 in a car that really deserves to be running much faster. But now, giving Azarov a little trouble would be his teammate, Sergei Yakovsky, making his FARC debut tonight, coming over from Formula Rus. But Yakovsky plays nicely with his teammate, running for the championship, backing off and letting him go. Riley Durbin's engine lets go, bringing his night to an end for the second week in a row and drawing a caution right at the halfway point. All of the cars that didn't pit on the last caution are going to come in this time around, led by Lev Azarov and Billy Bob Childers. Staying out and taking over the lead would be Bob Steffens, going for his 3rd win in 5 races. He makes a clean getaway over second place Todd Stater, but he would soon encounter a whole lot of lapped cars. And he makes the wrong choice, picking the inside lane, stuck behind John Burr and Alexa Lake. Todd Stater goes right on by with a clean track in front of him. But Steffens chases the 66 back down as he now tries to go around Daryl Quick and pole sitter Kevin Monroe. These past couple of seasons with the Dave Hetzel team have been pretty up and down for Todd Stater. His last win in the series came back at Daytona in 2017. But he's got a bit of momentum on his side as he finished second at Springfield a while back. But now his teammate Keegan Mallory gets caught up in a wreck as Vincenzo Focusato gets turned around in front of him. Kyle Pearson gets caught up in it, and now he gets clobbered by the 3 of Ronnie Holter. This wreck comes with just 12 laps to go, not what Todd Stater wanted to see, but Bob Steffens certainly wanted to see it, as he now takes on Todd Stater with a clear track in front of them. 1 lap to go. He's probably got Stater outmatched on speed with no lap traffic to interfere. Here comes Steffens to the inside. Billy Ray Smith-Thompson up to third now. But Stater gets a big run around the outside and hangs on to take the win. A thrilling last lap sees Stater finally break through with the win. And that was very classy by Steffens to not slide up into him in turn 3. You probably saw Billy Ray Smith-Thompson in danger of going a lap down earlier in the race, but he recovers very nicely to finish third. Same for Kurt Walker. After getting caught up in that wreck, he comes home fourth. Lev Azarov rounds out the top 5. Kenny George started 21st, finishes 6th, and grabs the hard charger bonus. Monica Rook grabs her 3rd top 10 in a row, Rick Forrest 8th, Zach Webster 9th, and Ashley Tucker finishes 10th. And now, here are the point standings coming into the Rockford 200. Billy Ray Smith-Thompson leads Lev Azarov by just 2 points. It's 76 points back to 3rd place Bob Steffens. Kevin Monroe is 4th, 94 points back. He still has a shot in his final year of competition. Zach Webster and Rick Forrest, despite being so far back, still have an outside chance thanks to all the points at stake during pole qualifying and the alphabet soup races. However, despite the smorgasbord of bonus points up for grabs, Chuck Johnson will not be able to defend his title, as the mechanical gremlins he's faced in the second half this season are just too much for him to overcome. Jim Kidd is no longer in the running. Todd Stater, despite the valiant effort he's made over the past few weeks, is out of the hunt. And Hunter Blaze, even though he has Rookie of the Year locked up, will not be able to fight for the championship. The 2017 FARC Low Dollar Series season has been a long and winding journey, but our championship contenders have yet to face their toughest challenge, qualifying for the Rockford 200, where, as of now, 196 cars are entered for just 60 spots. And as always, you can catch the highlights right here on the FARC Racing Network.